Right guys, we have some bad news. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman has just given us a glimpse into the MacBook Air's long-term future, and it's both exciting and slightly patience testing. According to its latest Power newsletter, Apple plans to give the Air another display in 2028. Yeah, that's not a typo, 2028. So I'll probably have flying taxis and self-heating coffee mugs by then. The world's most popular laptop will finally be moving on from LCD and will be blinking in awe at those deep blacks. Apparently Apple's OLED roadmap is a carefully choreographed dance across the product line. First the iPad mini, then the MacBook Pro, the iPad Air, and finally the MacBook Air, all in that order. Gurman even says the Pros will pick up touchscreens when their next redesign lands, possibly as early as late 2026. Meanwhile, the base iPad, predictably, remains the one kid not invited to the OLED party. Poor thing. So yes, the MacBook Air eventually will get brighter colours, deeper blacks, and better power efficiency, but only after the M7 chip era begins. The upcoming M5 version? Still LCD. The M6? Probably LCD. But hey, when that 2028 Air does arrive, expect it to look chef's kiss. It's gonna have incredible battery life and visual contrast. But until then, we're living in the world of incremental upgrades. Faster chipsets, better efficiency, but familiar screens. Think of it as LCD with a side of patience. And speaking of that, the next MacBook Air is coming soon, and just like the M3 and M4 models before it, it's expected in the spring. According to Mark Gurman, Apple's prepping M5 versions of the 13-inch and 15-inch MacBook Air, internally codenamed J813 and J815, for a launch in early 2026. That timing isn't surprising. Apple's refreshed the Air in the spring for the last two cycles, so it makes sense the M5's gonna follow suit. What's less clear is exactly when the higher-end M5 Pro and M5 Max MacBook Pros are gonna arrive. Gurman notes they can launch alongside the Air, but given Apple's history with the M2 Pro and M2 Max MacBooks that launched in Jan 2023, it's also possible these Pros arrive in Jan, with the Air following a few months later. Either way, 2026 is shaping up to be a busy year for Apple's Mac lineup. Now before we get into the specs of the M5 MacBook Air, let's address a previous rumour that's been floating around. Some sources claim the MacBook Air would switch to oxide TFT LCD panels in 2027. Here's the thing though, that now sounds unlikely. Why would Apple invest in new LCD technology and launch in 2027 when the real plan is to switch to the superior OLED in 2028? That does not add up, guys. So yeah, that rumour was likely bogus. That said, it's possible that with the M5 or M6 Air we'll see subtle upgrades to the existing LCD panels, possibly higher brightness, but nothing revolutionary. Basically, the screen you know and love is sticking around for a bit longer, at least until OLED finally arrives. Yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a wait. If you're hoping ProMotion could arrive on the Air before we see OLED, well, I have my doubts. I know the iPhone 17 has ProMotion now, allowing more non-Pro devices to gain a high refresh rate, but I reckon Apple's gonna wait to add ProMotion once OLED is on the Air, because why make us happy twice in a row? Now if you enjoy in-depth coverage of Apple's upcoming products, hit that subscribe button, tap the hype button. It helps a small channel like mine reach more Apple fans and ensures you won't miss any of my M5 coverage or future leaks. Coming back to the present, let's talk about what's right around the corner. The M5 MacBook Air is reportedly being tested with macOS 26.2, according to Apple Insider. This follows Apple's usual pattern. The M4 Air shipped in March 2025 with macOS 15.3 and had been listed internally with macOS 15.2 after an accidental IPSW leak in December 2024. Given that, an early 2026 launch seems logical. The Air is going to ship in the same 13-inch and 15-inch sizes as the current M4, offering improved performance while keeping the form factor users already love. And what about performance? Well, we've already seen the M5 in action with the MacBook Pro and iPad Pro. Built in TSMC's refined 3rd generation 3nm N3P process, it brings solid efficiency and performance upgrades over the M4. The M5 features a 10-core CPU with a neural accelerator in each core, allowing AI workloads to run up to 4 times faster. That's a lot of gibberish, I know, but essentially, graphics performance should improve by up to 45% thanks to 3rd gen ray tracing capabilities, and on the CPU side, the M5 offers 10 cores in total, 6 efficiency and 4 performance, delivering 15% faster multi-core performance compared to the M4. Apple also upgraded the Neural Engine to 16 cores, increased unified memory bandwidth by nearly 30% to 153 gigs per second, and supports up to 32 gigs of unified memory. There's a new media engine as well, which improves encoding and decoding for video workloads. So all in all, this is a pretty solid internal upgrade, especially for activities that leverage AI, that's the big buzzword in tech now, and of course heavy GPU work or multi-threaded processing. For the average user though, the gains will be less noticeable in data usage, like web browsing, office work, or streaming video. It's only going to be slightly better. Still, for anyone using creative apps, coding, or video editing, the M5 Air could provide a meaningful performance upgrade, and unlike past generational leaps where graphics performance often took a backseat, the M5 makes the Air more capable when it comes to GPU-heavy workflows. Finally, a laptop that can handle your obsession with random 3D renders. Storage is another area where we could see Apple make subtle improvements. The M5 MacBook Pro featured roughly 2 times faster storage than the previous generation, and the Air could see the same enhancement. The base configuration might be bumped up to 16 gigs of unified memory and 512 gigs of storage. That's not confirmed by the way, but considering the iPhone 17, a phone, now starts at 256 gigs, it would make sense to finally add more base storage on its max. Even a small improvement like that would make the M5 Air feel much more future-proof and less likely to give you that sinking feeling when you hit disk full mid-project. One of the most compelling reasons to pay attention to the M5 Air though isn't the performance, it's the fact it's gonna make the older models cheaper, because who doesn't love a good bargain? When the M5 launches, it's likely gonna push down the M4 and even M3 models in price. Right now, the M4 Air already is an excellent value, powerful, light, efficient, and capable of handling most users' workloads with ease. Amazon and other retailers are already selling new M4 Airs for around $749 in some markets, which is incredible for a laptop of this caliber. When the M5 launches, expect the older models to become even more accessible, and your wallet might actually thank you. Let's talk about design and the future roadmap a little more. The M5 Air itself won't look any different from the M4, but either way, the M5 or M6 model could bring subtle improvements with the existing LCD panels, but nothing OLED level. Meanwhile, the MacBook Pro is headed for a more dramatic overhaul. Apple's reportedly developing thinner, lighter OLED Pro models with touch capability for late 2026 or early 2027. That would be the first major redesign since 2021, and it makes sense Apple's rolling out OLED and touchscreen first in the premium range, and that leaves the Air to improve incrementally with LCD for now, maintaining its role as Apple's more affordable and practical laptop. In other words, OLED Air lovers, start counting the years. 2028 is a year, and yes, I'll be reminding you again. It's also worth noting Apple's product strategy here. By staggering design upgrades and pushing higher end features like OLED and touch to Pro models first, Apple keeps the Air affordable while still delivering meaningful upgrades in future cycles. The M5 Air exemplifies this approach: strong internal upgrades, modest storage and memory enhancements, but no visual redesign until 2028. Patience, patience, patience. So what does this mean for buyers in 2025 and 2026? If you're shopping now, the M4 Air is more than sufficient for most users. It offers 16 gigs of RAM as standard, up to 2 external displays, excellent battery life, and a sleek, well-built chassis. Waiting for the M5 is mostly about having the latest chipset for peace of mind, or for specific workloads that benefit from faster AI and GPU performance. On the other hand, if you need a laptop immediately, the M4 Air remains one of the best value Macs Apple's ever made. And yes, it will survive your coffee spills better than your last roommate's houseplants. That's a joke, by the way, don't put coffee on your Mac. To recap, the M5 MacBook Air codenamed J813 and J815 is coming in early 2026. It's going to feature Apple's refined 3nm M5 chipset, faster graphics, improved AI processing, higher memory bandwidth, and possibly larger base storage. It's probably going to run macOS 26.3 out of the box and maintain the same 13-inch and 15-inch size options everyone loves, and the same chassis design as the M4. And yes, the OLED Air we've been dreaming about, 2028. So yeah, mark your calendars folks, and maybe also put a post-it note on your fridge. It's going to be an important year for the Air. Thanks for watching guys. If you made this far, hit the subscribe button and tap the hype button. It really helps a small channel like mine reach more Apple fans and ensures you don't miss any of my M5 coverage or future leaks. I'll see you in the next one, and don't forget, once again, 2028 is when the OLED dream comes true.